With the 4nm Ryzen 7840HS along with 32 gigs of RAM and a 2.2TB NVMe drive, the Geekom A7 packs some decent specs into a compact box, but how does it perform? Let's take a look. So full disclosure before we get started, the video is sponsored by Geekom and they've sent me the A7 for free to showcase to you guys. So first up, let's take a look inside the box, and we get the A7 unit first with a nice compact design in an aluminium housing. We then get a thank you card, followed by the 120-watt power supply, which is also nice and compact. I've then got the power plug, and mine is a UK plug, followed by an HDMI cable and the manual. On the front of the A7, we've got two USB 3.2 ports with one supporting power delivery for charging, and we've also got the 3.5mm headphone jack and the power button. Then over on the left hand side, we've got a full-size SD slot. Now on the rear, we've got the power input, we've got a USB 4 and DisplayPort USB-C, the HDMI 2 port, 2.5GB Ethernet port, we've got a USB 3.2 port, a USB 2 port below it, then another USB 3.2 port that's USB Type-C, and then another HDMI port, and of course all of the openings along the top are for ventilation. Overall, the design is nice. With its compact design and aluminium housing, this should sit nicely wherever you decide to place it, and we've also got rubber feet on the bottom to make sure it doesn't slide around. So if we boot up the A7, it took just 8 seconds to get to my Windows login screen from pressing the power button. I've already set up Windows and updated all of the drivers, so if we take a look, the OS and all of the updates are using 41.1GB of data, giving you 1.82TB of usable storage from the get-go. Now the Geekom A7 uses Acer's NVMe drive, but there is only one slot, and as you can see here, it's running Windows 11 Pro with 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and this is made up of two 16GB crucial 5600 sticks. Now for those concerned with the synthetic benchmarks, in Cinebench R23 it scored 1806 for single core and then 14861 for multi-core, and then on Cinebench 2024 we get 107 for single core and 879 for multi. I also ran it through 3DMark's TimeSpy benchmark where we get a score of 3442 with a 3075 graphics score and 10644 GPU score, and I also ran it through 3DMark's storage benchmark where it gets a score of 1731, and here are the bandwidth results. Now when it comes to gaming, it also performs pretty well, and for those of you that want to do a bit of gaming, it's got you covered. Now I've tried plenty of games like Rocket League, Warzone and more, and you can see the on-screen benchmarks now. Now realistically, for gaming, it's going to be great for 1080p and some 1440p gaming, but the frame rates aren't going to be high enough for 4K gaming. For a bit of mobile gaming though, it's definitely a very capable device. And when it comes to productivity, it's also been a pleasure to work with. My main use for portable computers is video editing, and I've been trying this with Premiere Pro and it performs very well. I'm able to edit my timeline and add a few layers and effects without any issues to my playback, and my main video files are 4K at 60 frames a second. They're H.264 files with a bitrate of 200 megabits per second, although I do use proxies to edit the files both on the mini PC as well as my main workstation. Overall though, for a portable computer for editing, it's going to serve you well. I've also used Blender to do some 3D VFX and modeling, and again, it is up to the task. I can create scenes, models and animations with no problems at all, and the software has run nice and smoothly. Now of course, when it comes to the 3D VFX, I'm doing it on the Geekom A7, but then I still send it over to my main workstation for the final render, as it's very GPU intensive. Now when it comes to media playback, as you'd expect, it's a breeze. I've tried multiple bit rates and everything plays perfectly, whether it's standard or HDR, everything just works great. Now in terms of bitrate, as I said, my videos are recorded at 200 megabit per second and they play back perfectly. I've also tested 400 megabit per second 4K video and that played back perfectly as well. Now when it comes to the max resolution in displays, you can have 4 displays at a maximum of 4K resolution, and if you're running a single display, you can run up to an 8K resolution. For browsing the web and socials, as you'd expect, it's just a dream. Everything is fast and snappy and exactly what you'd expect from this hardware. I've tested online video playback from sites like Prime, Netflix and YouTube, and again, everything is great. We've got smooth playback as you'd expect, and no issues at all. We've also got support for 4K when you're using sites like Netflix. If we take a look inside the Geekom A7, first thing to mention is you need to be very careful when taking the plate off, as the Wi-Fi antenna is quite tight, and first time I did it I didn't realize, and luckily it only unplugged, but if you really mess this up you could damage the connection, so just do this bit slowly. So first up you can see we've got the two 16GB Crucial 5600 memory sticks. It supports up to 64GB memory, but there are only 2 slots, so if you wanted to upgrade the memory you would need to remove both of them and replace them with 2 32GB sticks. And then you can see here we've got the 2TB Acer NVMe SSD. So overall, I'm impressed with the Geekom A7 and it's a great portable computer, whether it's for productivity, browsing or media. Personally now, when I'm traveling, I tend to take a portable computer instead of a laptop as I'm only ever working in a hotel room, so I just prefer the compact design. The fan and cooling is also up to the task and I've had no issues with overheating or throttling, even when running my benchmarks, and it's not too noisy either. If you're after a portable computer and you want something that's reasonably priced but also a capable device, then I'd highly recommend you check out the Geekom A7. Now of course I've placed the link to the Geekom A7 down in the description below for the US, the UK and even Australia, and the price is £799 or $850, but you can also use the discount code TTTechGA7 and this will give you £20 or $20 off. So hopefully I've covered everything in today's video, but of course if you've got any questions then just ask them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, smash the thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down twice, and I'll see you guys in the next one.